to our deep dive today. We're going to be exploring how the design of your home can actually impact your mood, your creativity, even your overall well-being.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
It really is. And to guide us on this journey, we're going to be taking a close look at the psychology of home, how design impacts our mood, creativity, and well-being.
Love that book.
Oh, it's packed with so many insights. It's like, oh, I've already gotten so many ideas for my own space just from reading it, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things that really caught my eye was this idea that simply by adding a few plants
Oh, yeah.
to your home, you can actually reduce stress and improve your focus.
It's amazing, isn't it? The power of nature. And we're going to be unpacking a lot more of that, but just that little tidbit right there, I think really speaks to how much our surroundings can really affect us.
Totally. So let's jump right in. The book starts by talking about color psychology, which I've always found kind of fascinating.
Me too, me too.
It's like, you don't really think about it consciously, but different colors can really affect our moods and even our behavior.
Right. And it's all happening on a subconscious level, which I think makes it even more powerful.
Yeah, definitely. So the book talks about how warm colors, like, reds, oranges, yellows.
Those fiery tones.
Exactly. They tend to be very energizing, stimulating. They're associated with passion, excitement. But then on the flip side, they can also be the colors of like warning signs or, fire and danger.
They have that intensity to them.
So it's interesting how they can kind of have this like double-edged sword effect.
Totally. Like you
Yeah.
were saying, a little bit can be great for a boost of energy.
Yeah, like in a workspace.
Exactly. But too much, and it could tip over into anxiety or feeling overwhelmed.
So it's all about finding that balance, right?
Balance is key, always.
So then what about cool colors? Like your blues, greens, purples.
Now these are the calming ones.
Right. It makes sense. Like when you think about what those colors represent in nature.
Exactly. The sky, the ocean, these vast, serene spaces.
Right. And you often see these colors used in spas or like meditation rooms, places where you want to feel relaxed and peaceful.
It's not a coincidence. Studies have actually shown that blue can actually enhance productivity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's not just about feeling calm, but it can actually help you focus and get things done.
See, I always knew blue was my favorite color for a reason.
Maybe you're onto something.
So if someone was thinking about painting their home office, maybe a light blue would be a good choice.
Potentially. Or maybe a green for a bedroom, if you want to create that sense of tranquility and restfulness.
I'm already thinking about repainting my bedroom.
Go for it. It could make a big difference.
What about neutral colors? I feel like those are really popular these days. Your whites, grays, beiges.
Neutrals, they're great for creating a sense of balance and serenity.
I think they can sometimes feel a little bit too sterile, if they're not done right.
That's true. It's all about how you use them. They're like a blank canvas, right? So you can layer in other colors and textures to create interest and warmth.
That makes sense. And they work really well with minimalist design, which I know is something the book talks about as well.
Oh, minimalism, yes. There's some fascinating research on how minimalist spaces can actually reduce stress and improve focus.
I've definitely noticed that in my own life. Like when my apartment is really cluttered, I feel like my mind is cluttered too.
It's a real thing. It's
Yeah.
not just about aesthetics. There's actually science behind it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Studies have shown that clutter actually competes for our attention, leading to mental fatigue.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and then you have reduced cognitive performance. So yeah, a minimalist approach, with clean lines, uncluttered surfaces, it can actually free up mental space.
That makes so much sense. So color is obviously super important, but what about lighting? I mean, I know from experience that lighting can totally change the mood of a room, but I'm curious to hear what the book has to say about it.
Oh yeah, lighting is huge. And the book really emphasizes the importance of natural light.
Of course.
Like just getting enough sunlight can improve your mood, help you sleep better, even boost your vitamin D levels, which is essential for overall health.
Right. Sunshine is good for us in so many ways.
Absolutely. So open those blinds, let the light pour in.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that more often. But of course, we can't always rely on sunlight, especially as we get into the evening hours. What does the book say about artificial lighting?
Well, it turns out the type of artificial light we use can actually have a big impact on our mood and sleep patterns.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the book suggests using warmer lighting in the evenings.
Like with more of a yellow tone.
Exactly. Because it mimics the setting sun, which signals to our brains that it's time to wind down.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. And then for spaces where you need to focus, like a home office or a study area, cooler lighting with those bluish tones is a better choice.
So warm light for relaxing, cool light for getting things done. It's like choosing the right soundtrack for different parts of your day.
I love that analogy. It really is like setting the mood with light.
Okay, so we've talked about color, we've talked about lighting. Now, what about furniture arrangement? I feel like this is where I always struggle.
Oh, furniture arrangement. It can be tricky, but it's so important because it really affects the flow and energy of a room.
It does. It can make a space feel either really inviting or kind of awkward and unwelcoming.
Totally. So one thing the book highlights is the impact of open plan layouts. Those spaces with minimal walls and a free flow between rooms.
Like a combined living and dining area.
Exactly. They tend to create a more relaxed and collaborative environment.
I can see that. Like, it encourages people to interact more, and it just feels more spacious.
Right. And it can make a small space feel bigger, too.
But even in an open plan space, I imagine it's still important to create some kind of zones, right, for different activities.
Absolutely. You want to have a sense of flow, but also a sense of purpose for each area.
So like a designated dining area, a cozy corner for reading, a more formal space for entertaining.
Exactly. You're creating a sense of balance and variety within the space.
Okay, so it's not just about having wide open spaces. It's about being intentional about how those spaces are used and how the furniture is arranged to support different activities and moods.
You got it. And on the flip side, the book also talks about the importance of creating cozy and intimate spaces within our homes.
Like creating those little sanctuaries within our home.
Exactly. And you can do that even within an open plan layout.
How so?
Well, think about arranging furniture to create natural conversation areas.
Oh.
Like having chairs and sofas facing each other.
Oh, yeah.
Or, tuck a comfy armchair and a reading lamp into a quiet corner.
To make like a little reading nook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful of the energy you want to create in each space and then using furniture placement to support that.
That's such a good point. It's like you're designing a flow for how you want to move and feel within your home.
Absolutely. And speaking of flow, there's one more thing I think we need to address before we move on. Can we talk about clutter?
Oh, the dreaded clutter.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there, right?
Definitely. I know I'm guilty of letting things pile up sometimes.
And it's not just about being methy. The book actually goes into the psychological impact of clutter. And it can be pretty significant.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Studies have shown that clutter can increase stress levels, make it harder to focus, even contribute to feelings of fatigue and overwhelm.
It's funny because when my apartment is really cluttered, I do feel this weight on my shoulders, like I can't fully relax or breathe.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Clutter bombards our senses and makes it hard for our brains to just relax and focus.
So it's like a physical manifestation of mental clutter.
Exactly. And that's why the book highlights the benefits of minimalism.
So minimalism is not just about aesthetics.
No, not at all. It's about creating a more serene and intentional living space.
It's about having only what you truly need and love.
Right. That's the idea. It's about simplifying and letting go of the excess.
And the book says that actually has psychological benefits.
Oh, yeah, big time. Research has shown that people who live in more minimalist environments tend to experience lower levels of stress and anxiety, improved focus, and even increased creativity.
Wow. So less really is more when it comes to creating a peaceful and productive home environment.
It seems so. But minimalism isn't the only path to that peaceful and productive environment. The book also explores the power of personalization.
Oh, I love that idea. Turning a house into a home, surrounding yourself with things that have meaning and bring you joy.
Me too. And it's more than just hanging up a few family photos. It's about creating spaces that reflect your passions and interests.
So like what kind of spaces are we talking about?
Well, imagine having a dedicated art corner where you can unleash your creativity, or a cozy reading nook overflowing with books that transport you to different worlds.
I love that. It's about making your home a sanctuary, a space that nourishes your soul and reflects what makes you, you.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
Right.
It could be as simple as, displaying a collection of seashells from a memorable beach trip, or framing a child's artwork that makes you smile.
Those little touches that make a space feel personal and lived in.
Precisely. It's about creating visual reminders of the things that make you happy.
Okay, I'm loving all of this. There's just one more thing I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
You mentioned something earlier called biophilic design. I've never heard that term before. What is that?
Oh, biophilic design. It's fascinating. It's basically all about incorporating natural elements into our homes to boost our well-being.
So it's kind of like bringing the outdoors in.
Exactly. It's about creating spaces that feel more connected to the natural world.
I mean, I know I always feel so much more calm and grounded when I'm out in nature.
Right. And biophilic design is about bringing that feeling indoors.
I love that. But how do we actually do that? Like, what are some specific things we can do?
Well, one of the simplest ways is with houseplants.
Houseplant.
Yeah. Not only do they add a touch of life and color to a space, but there's actually tons of studies that show they can improve air quality, reduce stress and anxiety, even boost creativity and focus.
Wait, seriously? Plants can make us less stressed and more creative.
It's amazing, right?
I need to get more plants, like right now.
It makes sense when you think about it, For most of human history, we lived surrounded by nature. It's only recently that we've become so disconnected from it.
So bringing nature indoors is kind of like tapping back into something that's essential to our well-being.
I think so. And biophilic design goes beyond just plants, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it also involves incorporating natural materials like wood, stone, bamboo, even natural fibers like cotton and wool.
So it's not just about what we see, but also what we feel and touch.
Exactly. It's about creating a more tactile and organic experience within our homes.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. It's about surrounding ourselves with textures and materials that remind us of nature.
You got it. It's all about creating spaces that nourish our senses and evoke a sense of peace and connection.
This is all so fascinating. I'm already thinking about all the ways I can apply these ideas to my own home.
That's what we love to hear. We'll be right back with more insights and practical tips on how to apply these principles to your own home after a short break.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're exploring the psychology of home design, and before the break, we were talking about something called biophilic design.
Yeah, bringing the outdoors in.
Exactly, and I'm really starting to think about how I can apply that in my own space. It's so interesting how even small changes can make such a big difference. Just having a few plants around can really shift the energy.
It's amazing what a little greenery can do, right? It really does.
But you mentioned biophilic design goes beyond just plants. What are some other ways that we can bring those natural elements into our homes?
Well, think about materials. Wood, stone, bamboo, even natural fibers like cotton and wool in your textiles.
Yeah.
These materials bring a warmth and a texture that connect us back to nature.
I've always loved wooden furniture. There's just something about it, It has a warmth and character that you don't get with synthetic materials.
Right. And I think part of that appeal, maybe subconsciously, is that connection to nature.
That makes sense. So it's not just about plants, it's also about the materials we choose.
Absolutely. And even the colors we use can play a role too. Earthy greens, blues inspired by water, warm browns, all of those can evoke that feeling of being grounded in nature.
I'm starting to see my own home in a whole new light. Now, earlier we were talking about personalization, and I'd love to explore that a little bit more. It's such a powerful concept, this idea that our homes can really be a reflection of who we are.
It is, isn't it? It's about being mindful and intentional. So think about the things that bring you joy, the things that spark a memory or a feeling of connection.
Okay, so what kinds of things are we talking about here?
Well, it could be anything, really. It could be a collection of vintage travel posters, a shelf filled with your favorite books, or a gallery wall showcasing your kids' artwork, anything like that.
I love that. It's not about following trends or trying to impress anyone. It's just about surrounding yourself with the things that make you feel good.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be grand or expensive either. It could be as simple as a bowl filled with seashells you collected on a family vacation, or a framed handwritten letter from a loved one.
Oh, those little touches, they make such a difference.
They really do. It's all about infusing your space with those personal touches that make it feel unique, make it feel like yours.
It's about creating a space that feels like an extension of yourself.
I think that's beautifully said. It's about creating a space that supports you, inspires you, nourishes your soul. And that's what this whole deep dive is about, isn't it? Understanding how our homes can impact our well-being, and then using that knowledge to create spaces that truly serve us.
Absolutely. So if someone is listening to this and they're feeling inspired to make some changes to their home, where would you suggest they start? What's a good first step?
I think one of the most powerful things you can do is simply pay attention. Just walk through your home and really notice how your current space makes you feel. Which areas feel uplifting and energizing, and which areas feel draining or cluttered.
That's such a simple but important step, right? It's about tuning into your intuition.
It really is. It's about becoming more aware of how your surroundings are impacting you. And once you have a better understanding of that, you can start to make intentional changes.
So let's say someone walks into their living room and they just feel a sense of chaos and overwhelm. What are some things they could do to shift that energy and create a more peaceful and inviting atmosphere?
Okay, well, first of all, decluttering is key. We talked about that earlier. But clutter can be a major source of stress and anxiety. So start by getting rid of anything you don't use, need, or love.
I love that feeling of lightness you get after decluttering. It's like a weight has been lifted.
Right, it can make a huge difference. And then once you've decluttered, think about how you want to arrange your furniture. Do you want to create a sense of spaciousness and connection? Or maybe a cozy nook where you can curl up with a good book?
I'm starting to look at my own living room in a whole new light. I've got this one corner that's always felt a little awkward, but maybe I could turn it into a reading nook.
I love that idea.
There you go, see?
Yeah.
And don't forget about the power of color and lighting, too. Warm colors can bring in energy, while cool colors can be more calming. Natural light is a mood booster, so open up those blinds and let the sun shine in whenever you can.
It sounds like there's so much we can do to create homes that support our well-being, even without like a major renovation or spending a fortune.
Absolutely. It really is about being mindful and intentional about the choices we make. Understanding that our homes have the power to shape our experiences, and we have the power to shape our homes.
I love that. It's like we're not just decorating our homes, we're designing our lives. Exactly. We're curating the way we want to feel within our own four walls. We're creating spaces that support our dreams, our passions, and our well-being.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I'm feeling so inspired to take a fresh look at my own home and start making some changes.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. We'll be back after a quick break to wrap up our deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts and inspiration.
Wow, this deep dive into the psychology of home has really got me thinking differently about my space. It's like you said, our environment really does have a powerful effect on us.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook those everyday things, the colors, the light, even the way we arrange our furniture, but they all add up.
I'm definitely more aware of it now, and I think that idea of personalization, that our homes can tell our stories, that really stuck with me.
It's at the heart of making a house a home, isn't it? It goes beyond just making it look nice. It's about making it feel good.
Exactly, making it feel like you. And the best part is, you don't need to spend a ton of money or make huge changes to do that.
Right. It's often those little touches that make the biggest difference. Think about it. Those personal objects, they bring so much joy and meaning.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, it could be a collection of, I don't know, vintage postcards you've gathered from your travels, or a bookshelf overflowing with your favorite books, those well-worn copies you keep coming back to.
Yes. Or like a framed drawing your kid made that always makes you smile.
Exactly. Or a vase of fresh flowers from your garden even. It's those little things that make a space feel truly lived in and loved.
Like you're surrounded by all these visual reminders of the things that matter to you.
And you know what? It's not a one-time thing either. Our homes can evolve as we change.
I like that. Our homes, like us, they're not static, they're alive and always changing.
Exactly. And I think that's a really key takeaway from our deep dive today. Our homes, they have this power to shape our experiences, but we also have the power to shape our homes.
That's a really empowering thought. It means we have more control over our environment and therefore our well-being than we might realize.
We really do. And with just a little awareness, a little intentionality, we can create spaces that support us, inspire us, and bring us joy.
It's been so insightful talking about all this with you. As we wrap up this deep dive, is there one final question, something to ponder, that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Absolutely. Now that you've learned a little more about how the design of your home affects how you feel, I'd like you to think. What one change, even a small one, will you make in your space today to make it feel even more positive and supportive?
What a great question. And with that, we're signing off. Happy designing, everyone.